what we want to do first is find somewhere ideally to anchor your thumb. Now this guitar only has one pickup, so a lot of guitars have got the two, so you can find a spot to anchor your thumb to give you solid movement. Some people choose to have what they call a floating thumb, which means your thumb is just sort of all over the place. You play different strings. You might choose to anchor it here on the edge of the neck if you've got a protruding neck. I like it on top of the pickup. You'll notice this pickup has got a bit of a divot, a dip in between the two bolts there, so it's a nice little spot for your thumb. So what we want to do is get your fingers, your plucking fingers, if you're using fingers to play. Of course you can slap. You can use a pick, but let's get your fingers working to start with. So what we want to do is we want to get that control going so it's nice and smooth, so that you can control the sort of sound you want. You can have it choppy or flowing. So let's just try. You want to pluck the note and stop it, but let's alternate it so your fingers are literally walking on the strings. So you pluck and then you mute with the next finger. So I'm accentuating the stop once, just so you can see what I'm actually doing, but ideally you want to keep your fingers, your movement not quite so crazy, like that, okay? But just so you can see what I'm doing, that finger. So just practice that and try and get it nice and flowing. And then to the point where you can at this point my left hand's not doing anything. It was before. I was actually muting the other strings so they don't ring, so I'm just resting on the strings. Part of your string muting is right hand. Obviously your left hand plays a part too, so you can actually use your left hand to mute the notes as well. Trick is you want to hit the string just hard enough that it stops the sound without, if you press too hard you're going to make another note. You don't want to do that, just so that's my left hand. Then ideally you get the coordination between the two hands. You see my left hand's muting the string as well, as is the right hand. Do it with the left hand as well, gives you a bit more control. It also dampens the other strings from ringing out. So let's see that. There's no real law as to which one you start with. I was actually starting with my second finger there. So I usually personally prefer to, I often start with my second finger. But you can start with the first one. So So we're going to get you once, and don't worry about your speed to start with. We want to get it, your fluid of movement is the most important thing. So let's give you a little exercise to get your fingers coordinating. So let's go up to the 5th fret, which is your D on the 2nd string, and so you play 2 notes on the bottom E string, and then 2 notes up on the 5th fret, which is your D on the A string. See, I'm using my left hand to mute the other strings and also to stop the ringing out from the strings that I'm playing. First the E string, then the A string. And you can see my fingers just slow it down nice and even. You can add a little extra note in there, a hammer on, which is using the force of your hand coming down without the left hand onto that octave E. Set hammer on, or you can finger it as well. So it's just about getting that nice fluid, getting your fingers used to moving to the next string. Doesn't have to be fast. Break it right down. Then you go up to the next string, up to your D string. Make sure you're alternating your fingers. All I'm doing is just alternating the 5th fret on each of the strings I'm changing. So open string, A string with the 5th fret, which is your D, up to the G, which is the 5th fret on the D string, your 3rd string. Fifth fret on the E string, and then you alternate. Go up to the G string, it's just about getting this right hand used to jumping around and keeping it fluid. Remember to mute the strings so you don't move until you've stopped that. see my finger that's fretting the note is also pulsing to keep that tightness of the note. Probably a little bit hard to see, but don't press so hard that it hurts your fingers, just enough that you're getting a clean note. That's that hammer on we were talking about. So your hammer on is just, you pluck the first note with your right hand, and then the second note is struck with the force of your hand. You can use your third finger, like I'm using there, fourth finger. If I'm using my fourth finger, the third finger still is going down to help keep the tension on. So again, another little exercise to get your fingers coordinating together. And it doesn't have to be those notes, it can be any notes. Just getting 2 frets apart because it sounds nice. It's a nice little stretch, not too crazy, and getting your left hand and right hand coordinated. Can be any combination, it's just about getting it clean. It can be 2 notes, 1 note on each change, 3 notes, literally walk up and down like a spider, just 1 note to the next. Just getting that nice, clean, short, sharp note. Once you've got that mastered with the short notes, then we'll try and smooth them out a little bit and let them flow together. So I'm letting them ring together rather than choking it. Doesn't have to be anything tricky, just let's say hang on the 2 frets apart and just keep walking up. Nice and easy. Sounds okay, there's nothing nasty, nothing flash. Just walking up. Slow it down, get it clean, even. Then you can alternate. So I'm choking the first one and letting the second note ring out. Just walking up and down the strings. Don't rush, nice and even. So it's just about getting that fluid, nice fluid movement. Experiment with your right hand notes, it's just about that control. 1 note. 2 notes. I'm literally just walking up each note, the fret, 5 to 7, next string 5 to 7, next string 5 to 7, next string 5 to 7. Obviously you don't want to be moving your first finger, I'm just showing you where I'm going. Fluid of movement, minimal movement on your hand to minimise stress, and obviously later on, once your speed is up, you've got that nice fluid of movement. So 2 notes, short, back down, ring them out long, and then alternate, short first, long second. And you might notice as I'm going up the strings, once I move off the E string, I actually move my thumb off the pickup to rest on the E string and stop that rumbling while my left hand is moving up the strings as well. So you'll see my thumb move down to the E string, that stops it ringing out. And you'll notice my second finger here looks like it's playing a note. I'm using that to stop the other strings from ringing out. As I'm moving up the neck, that finger also stops the strings below where I'm playing ringing out. But you'll work out a way, because you want to get nice clean notes, so you don't want to hear the strings ringing out that you're not playing. There's a nice little one for you. So you, on your bottom string, just pick any note, and go up to your top G string, 1 fret across. That one's not doing anything. That note. So it's all about that control, nice and smooth. And just alternate, just get used to playing, get that right hand moving across the strings and your left hand. There's your hammer on again. Whoops. So I'm only plucking the first one. You can even get into trying some octaves. So your octave is the 2 frets apart, A here, that's on the 5th fret, then you go up to the 7th fret, 2 strings up on the 3rd string, and that note there. And it's the same, you move the whole lot one string up. It's an octave as well. So it's just about getting that nice fluid. Don't rush the speed. Speed will come. It's all about keeping it smooth. What I'm doing there is going open first, 5 to 7 on the A string, same thing but on the bottom string, down to the 3rd fret, So thanks for watching, tune in again, we'll do some more exercises. See you next time. Thanks for stopping by.